name is Vaughn Wilson, and I wrote this book about my friend Liesl Harris, the rodeo clown. Some of y'all might have seen him at the Hattiesburg Rodeo. He's a real guy, and all my stories are about real people, and they're stories that these guys told me, and I embellish them a little bit. So this one's called Liesl and the Racing Rodeo Mule, and it's told by Liesl's friend, Uncle Hokum. Now Liesl's a clown, but not just any clown, he's a rodeo clown. During the rodeo, it's Liesl's job to entertain the crowd with his jokes and comedy skits. Sometimes Liesl's a gun-toting Western lawman having a shootout with bad guys. Sometimes he's a baseball player, pulling tricks on his opponents in a hilarious game of baseball. No matter what he does, he always makes people laugh. During the bull riding event, Liesl's job becomes a bit more serious and a lot more dangerous. He helps to save a cowboy's life by distracting the bull when the cowboy gets bucked off and needs to get out of the arena safely. Those old bulls can get mighty ornery. One of the things people love most about Liesl is when he would ride his rat-tailed mule named Sweet Pea. Now Liesl's very tall and Sweet Pea's a very short mule. It was a funny sight when that tall, gangly clown would ride into the arena on that little mule. Now Sweet Pea might have been little, but he was one of the fastest mules around. Even with Liesl on his back, Sweet Pea could outrun most anything. Liesl would challenge me and my mule Gertie to race around the arena, and I always ended up eating Sweet Pea's dust as Liesl and that little mule crossed the finish line ahead of Gertie and me. Every time. Now Liesl said that Sweet Pea was the best mule he ever had, in spite of the fact that he had a crazy fear of cats. Not just black cats, not just white cats, all cats. There was something about cats that just scared Sweet Pea half to death. He didn't want anything to do with cats. Fortunately, that didn't come up much at rodeos. Now one time we were playing a rodeo down in Texas. Down at the feed store, I heard a couple of fellas talking about a dirt racetrack on the other side of town. They told me there was a Welsh pony named Sir Galahad that raced down there, and they said he'd never been beaten. They said anybody who could beat that pony would win $40. I headed straight back to the rodeo and I told Liesl, I bet Sweet Pea can beat that Welsh pony and you and I can split the $40. Wait a minute, Liesl said. Sweet Pea's my mule and I've got to ride him. Why do you get half the $40? Because it was my idea, I told him. Oh, he said, I hadn't thought about it like that. I'll do the thinking, Liesl, you do the riding. So I called Sir Galahad's owner and arranged the race for the next afternoon so that Liesl and I could get back in time for the rodeo that night. The next day we loaded Sweet Pea in the back of Liesl's pickup truck and hauled him across town to the racetrack. The man said there's a $10 entry fee. I told Liesl, go ahead and pay the man and get ready for the race. Why do I have to pay the whole $10, Liesl asked. Because it's your mule, I replied. And remember, it was my idea. Oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, said Liesl. So Liesl paid the entry fee, and as he talked to Sir Galahad's owner about the race, I was thinking about how I was going to spend my half of that $40. When the man saw Sweet Pea, he laughed. He couldn't believe we were going to run a little mule against his racehorse. We'll see who's laughing at the end of the race, Liesl told him. Liesl was sure that Sweet Pea could win. About that time, out pranced Sir Galahad. He was beautiful. He looked like he was born to race. Sir Galahad's owner had hired a professional jockey to ride him in the race, but we couldn't afford to hire a jockey. It didn't really matter because Sweet Pea wouldn't let anybody but Liesl ride him. It was a funny sight as they lined up for the start of the race. The starter blew his whistle and off they went. Sir Galahad flew down the track like he was on fire. Sweet Pea was left behind in a cloud of dust, but by the time they reached the first turn, he was gaining ground. Liesl's legs were flopping like chicken wings as that mule ran faster. By the time they reached the second turn, Liesl and Sweet Pea were almost even with the racing pony. At the third turn, Sweet Pea passed the pony and was leaving him behind. Liesl had the finish line in sight, and I was cheering him on to victory. With about 50 yards to go, Liesl and Sweet Pea spotted the cat at the same time. There he was, just strutting across that track with that feline tail straight up in the air. Cat. Sweet Pea slammed on the brakes. Liesel did not. Liesel tried to grab Sweet Pea around the neck as he flipped over his head, but Sweet Pea ducked and hightailed in the other direction toward the rodeo grounds. Liesel lay sprawled in the dirt and watched as Sir Galahad crossed the finish line. Well, Liesel wasn't hurt much, just a few cuts and scrapes. I took him to the doctor on the way back to the rodeo. What do you think that doctor charged just to put on a few Band-Aids? Yep, $40. Liesel said, "Pay the man, Uncle Holcomb." "Why me?" I said. "Because," Liesel said, "it was your idea."